kilometers of land. And it's an area of incredible majesty and beauty, a place that has mountains and rivers and villages and many archaeological sites, ancient sanctuaries and ancient cities. This is a more detailed map of the area that I'll be talking about from time to time. And you'll see that there are a whole series of villages, of course, together with ancient sanctuaries and ancient cities, together with two of the most important rivers and many of the most important mountains in the Peloponnese. So we have the Alpheus River here, we have the Nether River here, we have Mount Macan here, Mount Tetrasio here, Mount Minthi over here. The idea of the park is that it incorporates aspects of Arcadia, Elis, and Messenia together in an area which is continuous area of mountains and rivers and villages, which knows no political boundary in the sense of it being an entire landscape. Here a close-up of the area of Arcadia, where Arcadia meets Messenia and Elis. Here the sanctuary of Zeus and Mount Macan, and showing the Nether River and the Alpheus River and how close they come to one another. The logo of the park is important because it incorporates the shape of the park, the physical shape of the park, together with the symbols that are included in the park. So we have mountains, we have villages, we have trails, and we have a temple here to symbolize the antiquities in the park. The name Parrhasia is Homeric. Parrhasia is mentioned by Homer in the Catalogue of Ships, Iliad Book 2, describing that the Arcadians under Lord Agamemnon received 60 ships from Agamemnon to fight in the Trojan War. This being because the Arcadians had no coastline, they had no ports themselves, but the Arcadians were known as fierce warriors. What is a heritage park? Well, in this audience, I think you all know what a heritage park is, but it's a place where natural, cultural, historic, and recreational resources combine to form a cohesive, distinctive landscape that relate to human activity and shaped by geography. So it's bringing all the different elements of the land, natural, physical, cultural, historic, and with an idea of recreation. And so that these areas would then have international and national significance for experiences of tourists and citizens. So what is the purpose of this park? What is the purpose of the Parrhasian Heritage Park? So the first point is to protect the vernacular features of the region that have been developed over time to exemplify the Greek agricultural landscape. So we want to protect the Greek agricultural landscape the way it is. To preserve and provide access to areas of outstanding beauty, such as the Nether River Gorge, but also parts of the Alpheus River. To highlight and protect many significant archaeological sites, the Temple of Apollo Kurios, the Sanctuary of Zeus, and government collaboration on planning to share their concerns about localized needs. So this would be a park in which the locals, together with the government, would collaborate to form the structure of the park. To encourage economic growth associated with responsible tourism, bringing potentially 1 million new visitors to the area each year. This would, of course, happen over a long period of time. It would not happen next year or the year after, but many years down the road. But potentially a large number of tourists would be interested in coming to the park. And there's been a scientific study done that has supported that number. And to establish guidelines for managing change in the area, and to protect the integrity of the cultural and natural landscape. So what will it mean? There will be no purchase of land for the park. No one will sell land, no one will buy land. The land that exists will be protected and it will be unified in a cultural boundary, a natural landscape of its own. Land will remain in the possession of the current landholders. The borders of the park will be agreed upon by the various ministries, and the land within the borders will be protected as much as possible from unwanted or unnecessary development. These are the sanctuaries that are within the limits of the Haurasian Heritage Park. There are 9 sanctuaries, and some of them are very well known, others are less well known, and it's very likely that there may be undiscovered sanctuaries still to be found within this large area, because Arcadia, Elis, and Messenia have many sanctuaries, and it's very likely there are additional sanctuaries to be found. So looking here at the map again, the ancient sanctuaries are indicated by red and yellow. So Apollo Parrhasius, Sanctuary of Zeus and Mount Pan, Temple of Pan, Meron-Pla, Temple of Apollo at Kurios. There's a Greek temple here near Perivolia, the Temple of Athena and Zeus at Figalia. So the yellow ones and the red ones are the sanctuaries. So here you see the Temple of Apollo at Kurios with Mount Tetrazio in the background, and the temple interior that you're all familiar with. The Sanctuary of Zeus at Mount Lycaeum nearby. The Temple of Zeus and Athena at Figalia, and again this is Mount Tetrazio here in the background. The Sanctuary of Despina in Leucasura. And then the ancient cities are the blue squares, and so there are 5 of these cities: Trapezus, Megalopolis, Leucasura, Hera, and Figalia. And so this is a lot of ancient cities. Many of these are very little understood. Some have had very little excavation. So here, of course, the theater at Megalopolis. City walls at Hera, which has never been excavated. The city of Trapezunta, excavated by the 39th of Faria on the Otu. And then there are many natural, beautiful natural aspects of the park. This is looking to the east from the altar of Zeus and Mount Lycaeum, looking out to the neighboring hills and mountains. The Nether Gorge, which already has a large recreational activity in the gorge, rafting, boating, and trails, and these already exist, and we're not suggesting that they don't exist. This would be a very attractive part of the park in the area of the Nether Gorge to incorporate these trails into other trails. The falls in the Nether Gorge. What have we been doing to raise awareness of the significance of this area of the Peloponnese and the need to preserve it? And what steps have we taken to create a large scale? We've been talking to people. And we began talking to people in 2004. We first talked to our neighbors in Anacarias, we talked to neighbors in Asonapori, we talked to neighbors in Megalopolis. And then over the years, we've had many other community meetings. This is a community meeting. This is a community meeting in Vasta, following the opening of the Aya Theodora Trail. And speaking here is our colleague Fotis Zois, addressing the community following the opening of the trail, in which we discussed various aspects of the creation of the park and what the park would mean to the community. And by talking to people and by listening to what they tell us, and by putting different community meetings together, we have found a reasonable kind of a progression of the creation of the park. We've also spoken at religious festivals, for instance, this one at Prophetus Elias, where Stelios Bakakis was actually my translator to the group here on July 20th from a number of years ago. We spoke at that moment because there's a large body of people that were there for Prophetus Elias, and they were interested to know more about the project, the archaeological project, and the park project. So we capitalized on this to speak to people, and then to hear their remarks, to get criticism from them, to hear their feelings about what we were doing. We've also held a number of community meetings, large-scale community meetings, beginning in 2010. This one is from 2011 in Megalopolis, where we had Dr. Petros Mitsoulis, the governor of Peloponnese, Mayor of Megalopolis, Takis Bouros, and a number of other dignitaries that came to the meeting to discuss and to propose a way of organization of the park going forward. And we talked then about forming an alliance of different communities and community groups to work together towards the park creation. And so here during the meeting, Dr. Tertulis, who presided over the meeting, he is very much in favor of the park. He has said so on a number of different occasions, publicly here. He also read a statement from the Minister of Culture, as I recall, and Anna Karakonoyotu, our Forum of Antiquities, was here, together with our translator, Siddhi, and Dr. Liatzis and myself. But this was a very good start to sort of a formalization of the process of creating the park. Here is Anna speaking. One of the most important people in this entire initiative is this man. He may be the most important person in the entire initiative, Kostas Kassios, who is Professor Emeritus of Forestry and Environmental Studies at the National Technical University of Athens. He is the man who has created the national forests in Greece. And he's been working in this country for 35, 40 years, creating the national forest. So he's the man who has dealt with the procedures, legislative procedures to create national parks, in his case, forests. We asked him to help us to create the first cultural heritage park in Greece. And he's been helping us since 2005. And so this has been, he's been a huge, huge asset to this progress from the very beginning. Another principle in this effort has been this man, Mark Davison, who is British, but he is now the park planner for one of the United States, the state of Oregon. And he has been working in Oregon for many years. Before that, he worked for the National Park Service in the U.S., before that for English Heritage, and he's worked creating parks in 5 countries around the world. This is one of those 5 countries, but he's created parks in a number of different countries. He understands international park planning, and so he has been extremely valuable to us in understanding the steps necessary to create, in this case, a European cultural heritage park, of which there are many in other countries. This would be the first in Greece. So he too has been extremely important in our efforts. And Nokta Ponzu, she now teaches cultural heritage at the University of Patras, and she has been key to us in bringing new students, new cultural heritage students to us from the University of Patras to work together with us in our Parnassian Heritage Park Field School, the summer school that we sponsored. I'll tell you more about it for 2.5 weeks in July. So, what is the field school? The objective is to train the next generation of Greek and U.S. students, as well as Greek citizens, in the creation of a large-scale cultural heritage park in Europe. Each of the students receives a fellowship to take part in the school. So we pay all the expenses for the Greek students, we pay all the expenses for the American students, and this is these fellowships come from the Parnassian Heritage Foundation, which is a U.S. Charitable organization, a nonprofit charitable organization in the United States, which has been set up, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. So the field school is really to train Greek students and American students in what is a European cultural heritage park, how is it created, what does it mean, and the students all have goals in helping us. And I'm happy to say that one of our students from last summer is here, Nina Kraspa, who was one of our leading students of the field school from Anakarias in 2014. So in 2011, we had 1 Greek student, 5 U.S. students. 2012, 4 U.S. students. 2013, 2 Greek students, 6 U.S. students. 2014, 8 Greek students, 4 U.S. students. And this year we'll have approximately 5 Greek students and 5 U.S. students. So, whereas of course we're interested in helping our U.S. students to understand what a European Cultural Heritage Park is, the real role of the field school is to train Greek students, because this is their country, this is their park, this is their land. Some of the students come from the area of the park. This is to help the park going forward. So where the students come from, this is through last summer, not through this summer, because we haven't had the field school yet. But so we've had 8 from Arizona in different fields: architecture, plastics, anthropology; 8 from Pennsylvania, architecture, landscape architecture, ancient history, archaeology; 8 from the University of Patras, cultural heritage; 3 from Temple University, architecture in Philadelphia, landscape; National Technical University, 1 in geology; Open University, 1 in cultural heritage; and the Technical Education Institute, Patras, 1. So that's where the students have come from to participate in the park. And this summer we'll have more variety. The faculty, these are a number of the people who have served on the faculty during the summer, so that during the field school we have faculty members from different universities in the United States and in Greece to come and lecture, to lead expeditions, to lead tours, to give seminars in some cases, and to work day in and day out with the students on certain specific projects depending on the summer. So we have some of these are very famous faculty. For instance, Dr. George Davis, in the geosciences. He is a world famous geologist who knows very few parallels in the world. He's a leading geologist in the world. The lectures in recent years, just last summer, Oti Sois, president of the Parnassian Heritage Park Society; Kyriakos Karagiannis, president of the Cultural Society of Anakarias; Thanasis Christeas, president of the Village of Kossanakori; Mr. Elias Samalopoulos, president of the Village of Isoma. They gave talks, formal talks to the students. This year we will have a new series of talks, new lectures, and going forward we will continue to broaden our lectures. These are the fields that are being taught to the students, not necessarily every day, every hour, but during the course of the summer, many of these subjects are taught. So principles of ethnographic research, and Stelios Kikakis and Dr. Ponzo are leading our ethnographic work at Malacan, and they have been principal here. Landscape characterization, including geology, is Mark Davison, Costas Tassios, and George Davis. Trail design and construction, Mark Davison has been the lead. Sign design and construction, a whole series of architecture students together with Mark Davison and Alain. Local traditions and values, this comes up in various conversations and meetings and community groups. Modern mapping techniques in order to map the trails and to understand the landscape character done by many of us. Vernacular architecture traditions. We have a number of specialists who have been working in vernacular Greek architecture. Greek language, English language. This is the best aspect of having both Greek and American students working together day by day is that they learn another language. Community engagement, integration of archaeological fieldwork and park planning. So all of these things we teach in one way or another during the summer. Some weeks it's more of one than the other, but these are the kinds of subjects that we cover. Another thing we've done in the field school is we've opened 4 trails in 4 years. The Trail of Pan in 2011, the Trail of Zeus in 2012. In 2013, we assisted with the Trail by Theodora, the Fortis Zois, spearheaded in Vasta, from Vasta to Maya Theodora. And in 2014, the Trail of Rhea. These are all specific trails. They are individual trails. The Trail of Pan does link with the Trail of Zeus. It comes close to the Trail of Rhea. The Trail of Maya Theodora is in a different location. But this is a start towards a whole network of trails that the park will eventually include. For each of the trail openings, we've had a poster like this. We've had an invitation for a local community to join us in the opening of the trail, to walk the trail. We've had a meeting point. We've had an end point. We've had a time when everybody would get together to speak and to sign a document. So, for instance, the trail here is Mount McCann. The Trail of Zeus is this yellow one. Trail of Pan is this one here. So Neva, this is Neva over here. This is Amacarius over here. And as a part of the preparation for the opening of the Pan Trail, these are scenes of the field school while out in the bottom slides, understanding where the trail goes, talking about the landscape character of the area, and up above, creating files for various reasons, for posters, for signs, for information for the community. And so here is the Trail of Pan, again, the field school reconnoitering, and the plan here of the Pan Trail, linking the 2 villages and a sanctuary of Pan on the western slope of Mount McCann. So just to stop for a second, the idea of the park then is to link the villages, the ancient sanctuaries, and the ancient cities with trails, so that it's possible for visitors to either stay in the villages or to visit the villages, and then to walk to an ancient sanctuary or an ancient city, and then to have a network of trails that would lead you from one part of the park to another, all around the park. So you could spend days inside the park, which would mean there would need to be recognized certain places to stay, places to eat as well. So back to the Pan Trail here. Here is the signing of the documents so the mayor of Megalopolis is here. Here is individuals, Mark Davison, here, Fortis Zois, and many others signing the document. And so here was the document that was signed. Here's the walk in progress. And so these members of the communities were present on the day of the inauguration, and in this way, this was an event that could be commemorated and could be recognized and documented. All of this, I should say, all of these ideas for the trail openings and so on were the ideas of Mark Davison. He is the man who advised us about the proper way to inaugurate trails and to prepare for trails. So here we all are. This is the point of the trail where Arcadia meets Messenia. It's the border between the two. Community citizens came from both Neva and from Amacarius, and we met at the political boundary with the governor, the vice governor of Bill Manise here, and the mayor of Minneapolis. There are various kinds of signs that we have designed. Some of them have been installed, like this one, the Trail of Zeus. Others that are planned to be set up, some of them this year, like this one, a large narrative sign that explains about the Trail of Zeus in the area of Mount Can. Here's a close-up of the sign that would give information about the Trail of Pan, from Anacarius to Neville to Paraguay. Here's another trail opening. This one is the Trail of Aya Theodora, connecting Vasta with the Church of Aya Theodora. And here you see the opening of the trail with the priest here, and this again was orchestrated by Fotis Zois. This was Sunday right after church, which was an excellent time for an opening of the trail when everybody was present. And there were a large number of participants, 73.
Around 100.
So we've made these signs are also created as bookmarks to be given to the individuals who hike the trail, so that they have something to take home with them as a memory of the trail, but also that it has highlights of the trail on each one of them. So this is the Trail of Rhea, this is Aya Theodora, this is Zeus, and this is Pan. And it gives elevation, it gives distances, it gives, in many cases, notable sites to be seen on the route. Here the opening of the Trail of Zeus sign. Here is the Trail of Zeus inauguration with students and many of us walking together. So another thing that we've done to support our work generally, that includes the park, but not exclusively for the park, is the Paurassian Heritage Foundation. So this is a charitable foundation. It has been set up with five objectives. It's been in existence now for 4 years. So the first objective is to support the ongoing excavation, preservation, documentation projects at the Sanctuary of Zeus at Mount Can, which is Dr. Voyantz's and my excavation, together with the Arcadia Ephoria at Mount Can. Second, to support the creation of the Paurassian Heritage Park, to unify and protect a large area, 550 or 600 square kilometers, and to encourage tourism from Europe and the world. The third, to provide opportunities for U.S. and Greek students to conduct research at Mount Can and the neighboring areas. 4, to promote publications and conferences relating to the work mentioned above. Number 5, to create a research center as a permanent and comfortable place to work, study, and live in the area of Paurassia that could be used the whole year long for various objectives, including the ones above, and also other objectives. And it could be a place where Greek and other students could be taught heritage management that is on the site in the area of Paurassia, a place away from Athens or away from any large cities. And 6, to encourage and assist local community efforts aimed at providing an active and sustained support to these projects and objectives of the foundation. So we also work together with the local communities to help them, to support them in what they're doing, especially as it relates to these objectives. So the research center here is seen in a drawing. There is the idea of the research center then is to have a place, permanent place for research to go on in the area of Paurassia and the general area of the park for many reasons: archaeological, geological, historical, cultural heritage, ethnographic, and many other reasons. And most recently, there is a development in this regard. Because we are now interested in a house in Andritsina, which was the family residence of Mary Voyantz's father. It has been bought by Mary Boyatzis, and we are now considering whether or not this can be in fact turned into a research center suitable for our objectives. And so there will be various engineering, architectural studies taken soon to determine whether this building is a possible site for the research center. We certainly hope so, but we are trying to make progress on that front. So, recently, a society has been created, the Parnassian Heritage Park Society, which is a non-profit research association. Foti Solis is the president, and they have had a number of meetings, and I'm listing only the ones through last July 12, but they have met in Athens, and I'll show pictures of this in June 7th, but then they've also met in Elis, in Messenia, and in Megalopolis to promote the idea of a park, to promote the idea of belonging to the society, and to create a group of supporters for the creation of the park, local supporters. And for this we are extremely grateful. We think this has been a fantastic move to encourage participation from all three provinces and to encourage large numbers of people to support the idea of the park. So here's the first meeting, June 7, 2013. Foti Solis and others here at the podium in the old Parliament building in Athens. And here again is the scene. This was a large group of people. It was, I think, it was very well received, the creation of this society. There have been other meetings, for instance, this one. And this one may have been, is this the one in the senior? I don't think I've got the location of this one. But here another meeting where Kostas Kasios, together with Foti Solis, Manuel Dendrinos, Dimitris Papakonstantinou, and Mr. Pitsis, and another gentleman whose name I don't know, we're meeting to discuss the organization of the park. There have been a number of local stories about the park, and this is one that I happen to have, talking about the idea of the three geographical areas being included in the park. There has also been initial response from UNESCO in the sense that they are interested in supporting the idea of the park and that this is a good sign going forward. And for this, we're grateful to Foti Solis and Manuel Dendrinos for making this connection. And the second page there. And then back to the field school and back to some of the focus areas of the students on the project. So here you see them discussing the landscape on the site. Here you see them working in the Mathematico Centro in Anacarias, working on a project, whether it be a landscape character project, a sign project, an ethnographic project. There are many projects that went on during the summer. The landscape character is a very important part of what the field school has been involved in. And this is a process by which every piece of land is characterized on a map so that you know exactly what the use is of every piece of land, just as an actual state situation. That's what is going on the land right now in every single area. So you may have villages, you may have fountains, trails, agricultural terraces, walled orchards, agricultural terraces, tree lines, sheepfolds, dirt roads, paved roads, cairns, shepherd's shelter, threshing circles, areas of fir trees and timber. Each one of these needs to be mapped before anything is going to be done to the landscape. You need to know exactly what the character of the land is, and this is a part of what the field school is doing. We're doing landscape character analyses of all the areas where we are creating trails or suggesting to create trails. Another important aspect of the field school has been to study the geology, and with the assistance of George Davis, the students have become extremely interested in and cognizant of the geology of the area, which is very rich and very important in this mountainous landscape. It is a mountain landscape, so geology is very critical. So what does the park include? It includes the villages and the residents. It includes the goats and the sheep. It includes all the community leaders that we're meeting with in various communities to make decisions about what the park may mean and what the park should do. So here we are meeting last summer in, I guess this is Isaro. This is in Boston. We also last summer conducted an open house, and this is well, actually, this is just a picture of the field school at dinner. This is the whole field school at dinner in the dining room in one of the rooms. The field school has also included lectures, as I've mentioned, and here Foti Zois is talking last summer about his proposal for trails, linking trails, and his village and connections with Vasa. And so we all had a discussion. Foti brought some wonderful maps. We had very good conversation about this with the students participating, asking questions. Here's the field school. This was a part of the day, July 12, where we opened the Trail of Rhea. We had a tour of the Sanctuary of Zeus. We had a luncheon for 50, and this is the luncheon for 50 in the dining room. And we had a community meeting with respect to plans for the Karasi Heritage Park, in which various ideas were proposed and discussed. It was a fairly long meeting. We've also been suggesting and carrying out some of these catalyst projects. And these are Mark Davison's ideas to create catalyst projects that would be specific to encourage the creation of the park in a specific way. So to create a heritage area, a loop trail, a trail linking Pakane and Trapezunta, possibility of adapting village houses for overnight stays, shepherd shelters as camping huts, a food fair, create a food brand, a Karasian heritage food brand, publicize the trails, develop regional musical festival. We haven't been able to do all these things. These are ideas. We're delighted to know that the society is interested in pursuing some of these ideas, and we will help them as much as we can. But these are all ideas that Mark Davison has brought to us from other successful international parks that he's been at. So the field school is not all work. We also took part in the Porphyrias Elias Festival in Anagarias that was held on July 18, not July 20, for various reasons. And there was a lovely party and dancing, and it was a beautiful night, and all the students participated in this. Again, this is a very important part of the field school to have the students, U.S. and Greek students, participate in the local traditions. And getting to the end here, what are our biggest challenges? So we're running the park on a shoestring budget, so we don't have very much money. And much of the money we have, we spend on bringing students here from America and on a number of other logistical needs. Number two, we need to be careful to treat the three provinces equally, Arcadia, Elis, and Messenia. We want them all to be a part of the park equally. We want them all to come together because we need all three units to make this the best possible park. Number three, there are some village rivalries that would exist, of course. We need to be aware of these, and we need to be careful about them, but this is a real concern, and so we are cognizant of these. Equal representation. Then we also need to maintain momentum 12 months of the year. In the beginning, we were only working a few weeks in the summer. Now, with the society's help, there is a 12-month-a-year program underway, and so this is a very good development. This is something we're very grateful for, to have momentum all 12 months of the year. So this is something that was improved just in the last year or so. And then finally, we are pursuing a legislative proposal that would create the park formally in the Greek state, so that it would become a formal park and it would be recognized by the Greek state as the first cultural heritage park. And Kostas Kasios, together with Dimitris Papakas and Tino, are working on this proposal. We in fact had a meeting this morning that included Fotis and Yampos and Mary Boratsis and Kostas Kasios and Dimitris and myself and Dr. Hanzu, in which we discussed this very matter. This was the critical point of the meeting, was to discuss the progress of the legislative proposal. So this is key. This is just an image of me speaking to the Pan-Arcadian Conference last year in Tripolis about the park and about the importance of the park. And in September, there was this newspaper article in Tovima, a quote by Vasilis Nandrinidakis, in which he talks about cultural heritage as a very important matter in Greece going forward, and he called attention to various projects, including the Parnassian Heritage Park. And then finally, we do have a website, which is the ParnassianHeritagePark.org. The Society has a different website, which Fotis and Andros can tell us about. To date, we've had very strong support from over 50 individual donors to the project in general, but large donors, including the Karabats Foundation, Nicholas and Athena Karabats, Annette Brown Smith, James Ottaway, and Dorothy Dinsmore, specific gifts to the creation of the park, which were very specific and very much to support the various activities that we have been involved in. But it's really a small amount of money, and so we need to raise awareness about the park and raise more money for the park. And eventually, with the legislative action, there will be a possibility of applying for funds from the European community, which would then make things easier, and it would become one of the premier cultural heritage parks in Europe. It goes straight to the top. This is a very unusual proposal for a very unusual park. And Mark Davison has told us that this is a park that is going to be extremely important in Europe. In these days, when Europe is in such financial crisis and continuing crisis, the objective of the park is severalfold, but primary among the objectives is to create a place, to unify and protect a place of incredible beauty, a natural landscape that exists today. It has been really untouched since antiquity, or for millions of years really. It's something that is a treasure to Greece. It is something that we can promote. We can make it a entity that is attractive to European tourists and to world tourists to come to participate in, to walk through, to hike through. It is something that is really just sitting, waiting for us to create. There's not a great deal of work that needs to be done. It's not like creating a whole new infrastructure for a huge new building or university or something like that. The landscape is there, and that's what we want to protect. Natural environment is what we want to protect. The villages, the people, the animals, and then to create trails between them. So when Dr. Boyatsis, Mary Boyatsis, and I began thinking about this 11 years ago, our primary goal was to leave the place better than we found it, in the sense of protecting this beautiful area that surrounds Mount Lucayan, and to keep it, preserve it for forever, so that it would remain a jewel in Greece's crown. Thank you very much.
coming to our last seminar of our association. Είναι πολύ ιδιαίτερο, όπως καταλάβατε, η ιδέα πώς έγινε πράξη και οι αρχαιολόγοι συνήθως, οι περισσότεροι από εσάς γνωρίζετε ότι έχουν μεγαλύτερη έμφαση στο αντικείμενο. Ασχολούμαστε με την ανασκαφή μας, τα πράγματα που βγαίνουν από εκεί. Εδώ είδατε πως μια ιδέα που ξεκίνησε ίσως από μια ανασκαφή συνάντησε ανθρώπους που ήδη δούλευαν στην περιοχή για το τοπίο και όλοι μαζί ξεκίνησαν αυτό το υπέροχο έργο, το οποίο γεννιέται ουσιαστικά. Είναι στην αρχή του και θα μας οδηγήσει σε κάτι πανέμορφο. Ίσως θα μας οδηγήσει σε μια νέα έννοια του πάρκου. Όταν λέμε πάρκο, συνήθως εννοούμε πάρκο που είναι τα παιδιά ή το ζωολογικό πάρκο. Εδώ βλέπουμε μια τελείως διαφορετική αντιμετώπιση. Ουσιαστικά βλέπουμε το τοπίο. Δεν είναι καινούργια έννοια. Η Ελλάδα ήδη έχει ψηφίσει το 2010 τη σύμβαση, τη χάρτα του τοπίου, που προβλέπει τέτοια πράγματα, προβλέπει ολιστική διαχείριση και της φυσικής κληρονομιάς, καταγράφει στην Ευρωπαϊκή κτλ. Και των αρχαιολογικών πόρων. Παρ' όλα αυτά δεν το έχουμε δει να εμφανίζεται με τόσο μεγάλη επιτυχία πουθενά αλλού παρά εκεί στο κέντρο της Πελοποννήσου. Ένα εξαιρετικό έργο που κατάφερε να συνενώσει 3 νομούς, για να μην μιλήσω για κοινότητες, που το έχουμε δει αυτό το πράγμα. Οι άνθρωποι να έρχονται τόσο κοντά κάτω από μια ομπρέλα και να δουλεύουν συστηματικά όλοι μαζί, και οι ντόπιοι, αρχαιολόγοι του εξωτερικού, φοιτητές, άνθρωποι που κατάγονται από την περιοχή και μένουν στην Αθήνα, να δημιουργούν συλλόγους, να υποστηρίζουν όλοι μαζί φεστιβάλ και διαδικασίες. Μια εξαιρετική δουλειά που ευχόμαστε να συνεχιστεί και εμείς ως ΕΣΔΙΑΠΟΥ θα τη στηρίξουμε όσο μπορούμε καλύτερα. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ και ο χώρος είναι ανοιχτός για ερωτήσεις.